Oh boy, can I borrow someone's rope, please? Because I honestly want to kill myself after reading these two comics. Welcome back to another What the Fuck Did I Just Read? Where not just you, but I question my sanity at this moment at having read these comics. These two particularly. So we have Maneaters number 2 and we have Border Town number 1, something I never thought I would read, and I honestly regret reading it. So, while I stupidly decided to read Border Town number 1, to buy it and read it, didn't particularly have a choice in buying Maneaters number 2. One of my friends who watches the channel and just loves these videos, these what the fuck did I just read videos, decided, I really like that Maneaters one. I want you to suffer more because it makes me feel better. So he's now going to buy me every issue of Maneaters that comes out. I'm so happy about that. But you guys get videos on it, so I suffer for your entertainment, as I've always said. So we'll start off with Maneaters. Straight up, we're in for a show because of the cover. What the hell, Chelsea Kane? A tampon with whiskers and cat ears drawn onto it. Get it? Because tampons go in the pussy. I don't know. So it starts off with a public warning. This comic may attract girls and women. If you see a girl or woman in your area, remain calm. Girls and women may lash out if provoked. And then has it in different languages. Or a different language. So, starting off, our protagonist is learning how to put a tampon in because that's something I didn't need to see or read. And then there's also instructions on how to put a tampon in. Oh boy, oh boy. And then on the next page we have a list of just important women. I've seen a lot of people point this out. Margaret Sanger, if that's how you pronounce her surname, is on here. And apparently she was huge into eugenics and was an actual racist. So, a bit weird that you would put her with a group of like other women who did like important stuff. Yeah. That's what Chelsea Kane wants. Like, these are all the important, strong women. And then you put Margaret Sanger, who, what was a Planned Parenthood she did, but forget the fact that she was into eugenics and was a racist. Sure. But, here's a very good indicator that Chelsea Kane doesn't know how to write little girls. She writes them as adults and then they're just drawn as little girls. So her and her dad are eating and he's trying to be hip and cool and have a conversation with her. Like, any good YouTube videos going around? Want to talk about Riverdale? Betty? Jughead? I mean, what's up with that? You have any homework? No. And she says, Guh, stop interrogating me. Yes, okay, I admit it. I used your mustache scissors to trim my pubic hair. What? What the fuck was that? Chelsea, what was that? Jesus Christ. What kind of kid talks like that? Oh. And blah, blah, blah. The divorced mum is there for some reason as well. And then even more, evidence that this kid is written as an adult. God, it's never going to be safe. There will always be another monster. How am I supposed to grow up to be badass if you don't let me be brave? How? Oh, boy. Yada, yada, yada. There's another cat attack. And Jesus fucking Christ, this is boring. Like, nothing, like the plot that Chelsea Kane set up in the first issue. Nothing happens with that. This is another pointless issue. This so fucking boring. Chelsea. If they had actual editors there at Image, someone would have told her, scrap it or rewrite. Because this is pointless. Stop it. Now on to the main. The main. We saved the best for last, Border Town. The first series to kick off DC Vertigo, aka DC Woke, as it pretty much is. So, what do we start off with in this to launch our new Vertigo mature and adult line with Border Town? We have a group of MAGA rednecks firing their guns into the air. Like, how stereotypical of, like, Americans are just they're all white guys. Most of them are obese. Just all tattooed. Almost all of them laid in tattoos, firing rifles into the air. One of them straight up just says, "Make America great again, motherfucker." Others like, "Well said, brother." And oh boy. Then we're introduced to Frank, our protagonist, and he gives some facts to his mum. Like, "Hey mum, did you know that Arizona is home to over a dozen different kinds of lethally venomous reptiles, and it was the last state to honor Martin Luther King Day? So no black people, but tons of killer snakes. That hardly seems like a fair trade." Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Like, you know, the MAGA thing was like one. That was one thing. This is another. And then something happens. He gets a bloody nose, and he says to some guy called Nick, "You know, Nick, I wasn't quite sold on the whole moving to a desert wasteland full of bigots and biological murder machines thing. But now that I know spontaneous bleeding is in the mix, I am totally down. Metal." He's just a douchebag from the get-go. So he goes to school. He meets this guy. They become bros. Then he attends his first class, and it's just like, "Yo, that guy you were hanging out with is a Nazi skinhead. Should we be worried about you?" And he's asked, "Prove you're not a racist." To which he replies, "Wow, okay, well, let's see. I listen to Japanese thrash metal when I work out. I follow Kumail Nanjiani on Twitter. I've seen Steel so many times I wore out the VHS tape. Oh, and I'm half Mexican." Who cares? Let's go through these. Let's see. I listen to Japanese thrash metal when I work out. Zero fucks. I don't care. I follow Kumail Nanjiani on Twitter. Who is that? Why should I care? I've seen Steel so many times I wore out the VHS tape. How old is this kid? Like, this is supposed to supposedly take place present day. How fucking poor are you that you still use VHS tapes to watch movies? Like, he isn't really shown to be that poor. Like, he's just moderate. Just simple life. Like, how fucking poor are you? Plus, why would you see Steel more than once? That's a terrible film. And him yelling, "Oh, and I'm half Mexican," you want to know why he does that? It's because the plot demanded. Because there's a freaking Carrot Top in the back here. He, with the Solid Snake exclamation mark above his head, he goes and tells Nazi skinhead, and they get into a fight. But before that, there's another great moment here. Riri Williams over here says, "No, you're not." To which he replies, "I am. I know I don't look like it because my mum's Irish, but my biological father is supposed to be." And she replies with, "You're not half Mexican and half Irish. That makes you sound like the world's shittiest centaur. You're Mexican and you're Irish and you're American. all three fully, and all three simultaneously, 300%. Discount Riri. It's not how genetics work. Pay more attention in class instead of trying to ask if people are racist or not. You idiot. And skip forward a bit. Like the art in this is absolutely atrocious. It is the worst looking fucking art I have ever seen. Now he gets ready for a fight with the Nazi skinhead, and he has a bandage like around here. It is for some reason skin colored. Now bandages don't look like that. They don't look exactly like your skin. So it just pretty much looks like that someone just drew the line there and just didn't bother with adding a different. The colorist didn't bother adding like a different shade of color. lazy DC Vertigo. So a monster appears and they all scatter, and Riri Williams attacks. She picks up a gun and shoots it, and then they all run away. She's saying like, no, worse could happen, and Frank asks why, and she replies with, I'm undocumented, Frank, illegal, and by firing that gun to save your life, I just committed a felony that could get me and my entire family arrested and deported. I will admit I don't know how laws work in the States, in the US or whatever. I don't know how laws work here in Australia either, but I would assume you and your family would still be arrested and deported for the fact you're undocumented. You're there illegally. I think you committing a felony is just icing on the cake. You would be arrested and deported anyway for the fact you are living illegally in America. That whole genetics thing, now this, she is an absolute idiot. And we're gonna leave it there. DC, what the fuck did I read? This is just absolute trash. Who let this happen? DC, please tell me who let this happen. This is a travesty of a book. The dialogue is terrible. None of the characters are likable. You want people to like the characters. There's no characters there that I like, except for maybe, I don't know, that there's some guy that dresses as a luchador. He has is mentally disabled or whatever, because he really doesn't say anything. Everyone else that opens their mouth, I instantly dislike them because they're arrogant, they're douchebags, just the worst people in existence. Honestly, who thought this was a good idea? And this was to kickstart your new Vertigo imprint. I want to die. I hate myself. So that's it for Man-Eaters number 2 and Border Town number 1. I absolutely, without a doubt, will not be picking up any more of Border Town. That was it. It looks like I'll be reading more Man-Eaters. Despite the fact I hate Man-Eaters, someone spent money for me to read it, so kind of out of obligation, I feel like I have to do the ones on Man-Eaters. Hooray. That's it for the video. Thank you all for suffering with me, and to prove that I'm not a racist, I'm gonna go listen to some Japanese kawaii metal and follow Apu on Bebo. So I'll see you all in the next one. Oh, and I'm half Filipino.